Did you know that 30 to 40% of the world's population is neurodivergent? And out of those that are neurodivergent, 85% are unemployed. And many of those unemployed people are in the autistic spectrum. So, what is neurodivergent? Neurodivergents are people whose brains are wired differently from birth. They might include people in the autistic spectrum, people with dyslexia, OCD, ADHD, dyspraxia, and more. Now, the other word we need to know here is neurotypicals. And neurotypicals are humans that fit the cultural norm. Then there's neurodiversity, and that's when we have both neurodivergent and neurotypicals in a meeting or at our workplace. And the latest buzz is that neurodiversity is a competitive advantage for companies. Yet, companies struggle to achieve neurodiversity and the payoff that comes with it. You see, neurodivergents have great skills and talents that companies are missing out on. One reason we're missing out on them is because they can't get through an interview. Why? Because how we interview favors neurotypicals. And we use artificial intelligence to filter resumes, and artificial intelligence favors neurotypicals. So we're not even seeing the resumes of people who are neurodivergent come across our desks. And the shame of that is neurodiversity is a competitive advantage. How do we know? Well, companies with neurodiversity and autism at work initiatives have collected data to determine the success of their programs, and they've been very successful. But the reality is that they're still largely unemployed and underestimated. Why don't we see their value? Well, I'm going to make a confession. I've been doing this work my entire career. And not long ago, I was asked to deliver a keynote for the Down Syndrome Guild of Dallas. I was looking for an activity similar to one I'd shared with audiences for years called Famous People with Learning Disabilities. And I wondered, are there any famous people with Down syndrome? I'm kind of ashamed to admit that I did not expect to find anything in a Google search for famous people with Down syndrome. And then I did the Google search and I was shocked. I was wrong. There are famous musicians, famous artists, famous actors, and more. I could go on and on. I was like, wow, I had no idea. It made me look in the mirror at myself and my own biases. And because I'm a person who's been working with neurodivergence my entire life, my entire adult life, I felt bad that I seriously underestimated the capabilities of people with Down syndrome. I had a blind spot and I didn't even know it. Well, we usually don't know what our blind spots are. Not most of us, we don't know. I guess that's why they call them blind spots. We don't see them. So what's the challenge for us? Well, first, to become aware of our blind spots. Why? Because blind spots impact our perceptions and influence our decisions and what we expect from people and our employees. It impacts our relationships with people. Let's go back to 1957. Let's transport back in time. An immigrant from Canada came to the United States and got a job shoveling coal at Western Mass Electric Company in Springfield, Massachusetts. He shoveled coal every day to work to support his family. But he decided he wanted more out of life. Now, this is 1957. There is no internet. So he took a correspondence course. For those of you who don't know what that is, that's when you take a course through the mail. He was literally mailing back his tests and getting his coursework through the US mail. And he wanted to become a mechanical engineer. He worked shoveling coal by day and he studied by night. He graduated in 4 years. A few months later, he saw a job posting on the board at Western Mass Electric. They were looking for a mechanical engineer to work on the team in the control room. So he grabbed his diploma, filled out his application, and brought it to his boss. And he said, "I'd like that job." Now, luckily for him, that boss, if he had any biases against that coal shoveler, if he thought, "You're just a coal shoveler and you want to be an engineer," he put those biases aside. And he hired Larry to be part of the team in the control room. Larry went on to spend the rest of his career working as a part of that control room team, as a loyal, hardworking, divergent thinking employee. And he was able to provide well for his family. I knew Larry because Larry was my dad. And I'm grateful that his boss didn't have the biases or use them against him, because he was able to provide for his family and a sister with special needs that's still here and needing his care. And it's a good thing that there were no biases in that hiring situation, because bias limits what we can gain from a diverse team. Remember, neurodiversity is proven to be a competitive advantage. And recognizing our unconscious biases helps your association members create workplace cultures where teams can maximize the benefits of divergent thinking. And they can foster an environment where all employees feel valued. Because when employees feel valued, they tend to become more loyal, hardworking, and motivated. Imagine the difference this can make for your members. Thank you.